Episode 61! Will these comics make good film and television shows? Let's find out. We got Green Arrow, we got Star Wars, and we got The Dancer. Let's check them out right now. Welcome back to the channel, everybody, where we talk about comics. Yes, let's find out if these things eventually will make the silver screen or your projection screen on your television. Let's find out. So I am your host, Frank Zanca. I'm an award-winning screenwriter, novelist, and comic book writer. And on top of that, we are going to talk about a Green Arrow starting out with. So let's jump right into it. So this is Green Arrow number 8. I started with this series. I dropped off the series when it got way multiversal. I don't think Green Arrow should be dealing with the multiverse. It falls out of his character. This is by Joshua Williamson. The last issue I did pick up, and that was him coming back and spending all this time with all of Justice League, wondering why the Justice League broke up, to figure out if he is in the right universe. And you can tell that the cover is very thin here, but it was $3.99, and I have no problem with them making thin covers if it's going to keep the price down. So why are they able to do this for $3.99 with Joshua Williams' name on it and not do the others? I have no idea. Just amazingly what the cash grab that they did for jumping it up, $1. I still am not getting over that. The artwork is not that great. So we have Connor identifying his body, Ollie's body, that's been shot up several times by Onomatopoeia, who in the last episode crashed through the ceiling blight. Of course, there's always a ceiling glass or whatever window, and we see him get shot up there in some kind of a shadow. And Connor walks out, and then he goes to look for Onomatopoeia, and then he ends up finding Onomatopoeia on this boat. And Onomatopoeia was created by Kevin Smith, I believe, and he only speaks in sound effects. So when he fires his gun, he goes bang, crash, stuff like that. So he meets the guy, I guess, that paid him, and he's like, oh, Green Arrow will never, find us, so none of the Green Arrow family, and then he shows him pictures of Green Arrow being dead, and Connor finds them, and he runs his boat into it. So we find out that, so we have this fight scene go on. I'm really not sure why when we see the reveal. I'm very confused by this. And he tries to escape, the other guy, and an arrow goes through the ladder, and Onomatopoeia takes his mask off to reveal it's Ollie. So this makes no sense. This makes absolutely zero sense. So Ollie was playing Onomatopoeia this whole time, but yet we see Connor questioning people to find out where he is. We have a fight scene between Connor and Onomatopoeia, which makes no sense because they're fighting each other. And then what happened to Onomatopoeia? He got captured, and now they know who he is because they took his mask? And none of this makes any sense. I mean, this could have been a good issue. I was excited to see the other character come up because he's, he's kind of different. But none of this makes any sense. And then it switches back to, this is what really happened. Da-da-da, they really kicked his ass and then took his identity. And then all these things happened that make absolutely no sense. So he tells them that they're looking for Red Arrow, or Arsenal, whatever you want to call him. And he says, no, he was taken by Waller. And they're like, oh, we have to go get him back. And he's like, no, you don't understand. Waller doesn't have him. He's working for him. And we get this last page of Arsenal. And that's it. So, Joshua Williamson is just not doing a good... I don't think he understands the character. So, would this make a good film and television show? No. I mean, the Arrow TV show was better than this. And there were some down episodes on that one. Yeah, I mean, Ollie's so easy to write. Why can't we just have... I like some of the family, where we have Connor and Red Arrow and Speedy and all this other stuff. He has such great characters, and this is what he can come up with? This ruse that makes no sense that then destroys the villain character? It's pretty bad, dude. Pretty bad. I don't know how long I'm going to keep going with it, but I don't know for how long. And the artwork's not that great either. All right, so let's jump into Star Wars Thrawn Alliances. So I just started reading this book, and then I found out that they're doing the comic. But here is the book by Timothy Zahn, and I did meet Timothy Zahn, who signed it for me. So yeah. So I decided to pick this up. You can't, if you don't have any relation with Thrawn other than the Ahsoka series, you're missing out. Because the Ahsoka series, the Thrawn in that is not Thrawn. They destroyed the character. They destroyed every character in there. There was not one character in that show that was not destroyed. Filoni should be fired immediately for what he did. He did to his own characters, for what he did to Timothy Zahn. And when I spoke to Timothy Zahn, and Ahsoka was about to come out, I said, he's handling your characters. How is this going to come out? And he's like, oh, yeah, Filoni gets it. I'm like, oh, after I watched it, I'm like, if you're happy with this, Timothy, I don't know, man. It was pretty bad. It was really bad. But, first of all, Thrawn's not fat. That's like me playing Thrawn. No. Thrawn is always in shape. And of course he is, because he keeps his mind and his body in tune. They called a chiss. That is his species name. So him and Vader get tasked by the Emperor to find a disturbance in the Force. And, we get, the old stormtroopers and stuff like that. Vader here is drawn not very well. I think that Thrawn is drawn a lot better than Vader is. But the story goes back and forth between the past and quote-unquote now, although Vader's still alive, so it's our past as well. And we have Padme, who is on a mission herself, and she finds this woman that she's associated with, who is almost like in the Old West, where they had the body up there, in case anybody wanted to identify it. But she steals the brooch off it. And you would think that anybody would have stolen that thing, whether they thought it was valuable or not, because she's like, nobody would steal it because it's literally garbage. But what it is the key to the ship. And so she generally knows where the ship landed, so she activates it and leaves her ship behind and takes her ship, the other woman's ship, to hear, the message from her, and I guess go back to the previous coordinates, etc. So meanwhile, you have Vader and Thrawn disagreeing on strategy. Which is very interesting, because it's written very well about how they're juxtaposed. Where Vader is more direct. He's like, we're going to do this, period. And Thrawn is like, well, I kind of want to prepare for something that we may not be seeing. and Vader's just like, you're not gonna, if you undo my orders again, you and I are gonna have a problem. And again, the artwork is generally good. I just don't like how Vader is drawn in some of it. Here he's okay, which you only see in the back of his head. But and we get Anakin from the Clone Wars kind of look, where he's looking for Padme and instead runs into a younger Thrawn who is not part of the Empire yet. And he's like, yeah, I know where that ship is, and if you can answer some questions for me, because I want to increase my knowledge of the Republic and Jedi and etc., if you impart wisdom on me, I will help you. So they decide to team up, and they go down to the surface, and of course, now we jump back to the Vader stuff, where they find out there's other species, and he's questioning the bartender, just like an Old West kind of thing. So he's questioning the bartender, and they're like, yeah, these guys are kind of invading us here. We don't know who they are, but they're coming kind of and strong-arming us. And Vader and Thrawn are kind of conversing how they're going to handle this whole thing. And, of course, they come, to attack them. And Vader's just like, whatever, man. How many guys you got? How many bodies am I going to leave behind? Then we switch back to Anakin. And, of course, he went on the planet without Thrawn. Because he's always kind of hot-headed that way. And he gets attacked. And, of course, he blocks all the bullets. And then it switches back to Vader and Thrawn basically killing everyone. I don't think he even has a lightsaber lit at this point. So, Thrawn finally shows up on the planet with Anakin and says, whoa, stop fighting them, I'll just talk to them. And they're willing to help and stuff to that effect. And people have complained that this issue is very talky because, of course, it's, taken from the novel. But yeah, so I have no problem with it because it's setting up all this stuff that's going to happen, down the line. I have no problem with setup issues, especially when I know somebody like Timothy Zahn, knows how to pay off. It's the comics that you start setup and it never pays off. That's what the problem is. So overall, I would love to see this as a movie, man. We get to see Anakin. We get to see Thrawn done well. We get to see Vader done well. Again, I haven't finished the book. I'm only, a third of the way through. I'm trying to stay ahead of the comic, I guess. But yeah, it's this. I think Disney missed out. Again, this is a Kathleen Kennedy problem, and now a Filoni problem, since he was put ahead of this thing, where they're not going back and taking from the books. I have no problem with them kind of doing a Star Trek thing and recasting Han, Luke, and Leia. Recast them. Because that, as they learned kind of in Star Trek, that the old stuff is what works best. And, nothing against, some of the new characters that Star Trek has done, because, again, they've lasted now for, decades as well. But when you think of Star Trek, it's always, Kirk and Spock and McCoy. And that's kind of what we have with Star Wars. We have Han, Luke, and Leia. It's just, and Chewbacca. And it's them that's the heart and soul of this whole universe. And yes, you could bring somebody else in, but they're never going to be as reputable or as beloved as the main characters. It's just the way it is, man. And as beloved as Picard is, and Donna Troy, and Beverly Crusher, and Number One, and, all that stuff, Data, it's never going to match the original stuff. And I'm still a fan of more of the original stuff than anything else. But I know a lot of people love the other way. We're even now in Star Wars, you have people that like the prequels, which I don't like. better than I like the originals. I'm definitely not one of those. But even so, then you have your Anakin and your Amidala and all that stuff, of which they destroyed Amidala's character. Even Lucas destroyed Amidala's character. But I can tell you that the original characters were never destroyed in the original series until the new writers got their hands on it, like JJ, etc. So anyway, here's a throwback to what can work, and I think would still work. And you don't, again, Anakin's the only one in here, and Padme, which again could be older. We just saw Anakin and Ahsoka. There's no reason this film can't be made, and as long as Shanae or boy Janoi there isn't playing in that sandbox. Crazy. All right, so let's jump into a Kickstarter book by Kat Kalamia. This is issue 2 of The Dancer. So in the last issue, she killed, or she was about, I think she killed the parents of this girl named Chloe, and she goes back to her handler, and her handler comes back to her house and tells her, hey, if you want to talk about it. And she's like, no, not really. But she's like, the little girl's face is haunting me, and she's not really sleeping, and it's pages and pages of setup showing how she's affected by the fact that she killed these people, and and she's haunted by it, by the little girl. So she has this kind of flash of killing the guy that threw the guy onto the train tracks there. This is almost like a filler issue. And then we have Velma here. Lord knows why we have Velma here. But tell me that's not Velma! That is Velma! And Velma tells her, look, this is a weird page. Not only is it Velma, but then she says, yeah, I need you to take a class or teach a class of little girls for ballet. And she's like, no, not really. And then she talks her into it, and she's like, okay, when's the class? She's like, now. What if she said no? What if she stuck to no? Then nobody teaches this class? So she's teaching this class of all these little teeny ballerinas, and she's teaching them the mind of it first before they actually sit down and actually do it. And again, she sees Chloe as she's dancing, and she runs out of the room because she's having these flashes. And she talks to her handler, etc. This is more of a filler episode, and I guess she's going to go look for the little girl, which is how we end. But this was a complete filler issue, and I don't know why we have a filler issue on issue 2. Very strange. Would it make a good film or television show? I don't know. Right now, there's really no twists or anything to that effect. The character is okay. There's nothing really pulling me into this character. Let's see what happens with the little girl side. But we've seen, these type of things before, where the assassin gets attached to a civilian child. I forgot I almost had it. There was the one in the late 70s, early 80s, with the woman that was going against the mob and was protecting the child there. I forgot the name of it. Gloria. All right, so I'm going to reserve on this one. I thought issue 2 was a filler, so not sure why. Thrawn, this would be a good movie. I don't know why they're not doing it. And Green Arrow? No. Let's give me some good Green Arrow stuff, man. I really haven't had anything good since like season 2 of Arrow. It's amazing. All right, well, that's it for me, guys. Thank you guys so much for watching. I really appreciate it. Remember to give me the thumbs up or give me the middle finger, whichever way you want to go. And also remember to subscribe as well. Ring that bell. I am trying to grow the channel out. Thank you guys so much for watching. Check out some of my other videos that'll pop up here as well. Remember that I have late pledge for Lords of LA numbers 1 and 2. You'll be able to pick up number 1 as well. I'm going to be launching that in Indiegogo. It's mostly built out. I have a few more things I have to do on it yet, but I think by next week I'll have it done. Also, Mark Spears, who does a lot of comic covers. I think he's just doing a Power Rangers one right now. But he's done Spawn, and he's done The Headless Horseman for some kind of a horror book. He's done Red Sonja. He's done Spider-Man, I think. So he's done a pile of stuff. But he and I are working on Riftstorm Classic Monsters. So we're going to have, Frankenstein and Dracula, etc. It's going to be an area control deck builder, if you guys are gamers at all. All right, so check that out as well. I'll keep you guys informed when I launch that in a few months as well. All right, thank you guys so much, and I'll see you guys on episode 62. All right, talk to you later. Bye-bye.